So let's expand this logarithmic function that we have. So let's start with our first argument, which is 10x raised to the fourth power. So x to the fourth power has its rule, which is the power rule. So we will be having 4 logarithmic 10x. So we have logarithmic 10 plus logarithmic 4x. That is the first expanded form of our first argument. 10x to the fourth power, since it's a combination between the product rule and the power rule. So we have logarithmic 10 plus 4 logarithmic x. So we are done with our first argument, which is 10x to the fourth power. Let's proceed with the second argument that we have, which is 3y squared. So as you can see here, in this second argument that we have, we will be having two rules, which is also the product rule and our power rule. Okay. So minus, since it's divide, minus logarithmic 3 plus 2 logarithmic y. So that is the expanded form of our function 10x to the fourth power over 3y squared. So we have logarithmic 10 plus 4 logarithmic of x minus logarithmic 3 plus 2 logarithmic y. Okay. What about this second example that we have? Let's expand this second example that we have, which is logarithmic 8 to square root of x over 5 cubed. So let's try to expand this second example that we have.
It's okay.
It's okay because it has a square root.
It's illegal. It's illegal. It's
No, we can expand this. Let's expand. So let's start with our first argument, which is 2 square root of x. So what do you think? What is the rule or the properties that is being involved in our first argument? The 2 square root of x. What is the properties of logarithmic that is being involved with the first argument that we have, which is 2 the square root of x cubed?
Power.
Power rule, we have the power rule and the product. So that is the two rules that is being involved for our first argument. 2 the square root of x cubed. So if we're going to use or expand our first argument, it will become logarithmic 8 2 plus, since we have power rule, which is cube, so we will be having 3 logarithmic 8 square root of x. If you want to remove the square root, you can use the exponent of your square root is 1/2, x 1/2. That's equivalent to square root. If you don't want to use the square root, it's the same. Or you can write it as x raised to 1/2. Okay? That's the same with the square root of x. So let's use the square root of x na lang para di tayo malito. So let's use the square root of x in expanding our first argument. So we are done with our first argument. Let's proceed with the last argument that we have, which is 5 cubed. Since all the terms in our function has its exponent, which is 3. So the only involved properties in the second argument that we have is the power rule. So minus logarithmic 3 logarithmic 8 5. So that is the expanded form of our logarithmic function. 8 2 square root of x over 5 cubed. Let's try another example and expanding the function that we have.